Welcome back to another Robert's Ranks video. These are just unedited videos where we just kind of talk about a certain type of movie, about a certain list. And this one's particularly special because I've only seen all of these movies once, except for the first Deadpool movie. And I think Deadpool 2 I've seen twice, but everything else I've only seen once, and it was relatively in a row. So I'm really excited to talk about these ones in particular. I think for the most part, what I'm about to say lines up with most people's reality, but if it's different, let me know in the comments below how you would rank the X-Men movies. I love to hear from you guys, so put that in the comments below. Whichever ones you've watched, feel free to rank them in the comments. I would love to read them, and I will comment upon them, so please participate. But, we're talking about the X-Men movies, all of them. I'm including Deadpool because I feel like it's in the same universe. He explicitly kind of says it's in the same universe, sort of, but also then retracts that statement in Deadpool 2. It's kind of, I don't know, whatever. I'm including them regardless, so, which is hard because they are very different movies, but I think I'm happy with my placement of them. But as always, starting from worst to best, so there's 13 here, and 13th place is The New Mutants. That movie sucks. That movie sucks bad. It is just so boring. I can't imagine this movie being any fun, like, at all. And it's not supposed to be fun, but it's supposed to be scary. And there's only a couple moments where I was genuinely scared, and that was with that weird smiley face man. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's just a fine movie. I wouldn't even call it fun. It's a bad movie with a couple fine moments to it. And that's where that stands. At 12, not far behind, is X-Men Dark Phoenix. My boss calls this Dark Penis, and that's totally fair. Dark Penis is a much more accurate representation of this movie. It's just really boring. There's a couple great moments with like CGI, and there's a couple characters that stand out as doing really well in this film, but for the most part, it's very lackluster, and you can skip it. Like, you can absolutely skip this one. At 11, we have X-Men Origins Wolverine. This one was particularly disappointing because the beginning part of the movie is really, really good. Like, leading up to the third act, I was really enjoying the film. I was like, this is pretty good. It's got this Japanese culture vibe to it without throwing it in your face and making it not an X-Men movie. But then the final act was an X-Men movie, and it was really disappointing because we went from this really cool, like, filmmaking approach to, oh, sorry, this is X-Men Origins Wolverine, not X-Men Wolverine. That makes more sense. I was like, this wouldn't be that low. X-Men Origins Wolverine is much, much worse. I forgot this movie existed. I'm not sure if I like this much more than Dark Phoenix at all, actually. Like, quite at all. Oh, man. No, this movie sucks. I'm trying to figure out, like, if there's anything good about it, and it sucks. And honestly, this one could be switched with 12 at any moment. Like, I think Dark Phoenix and X-Men Origins Wolverine very much vary for me. I remember when I watched it first, like, a month or two ago, I was like, I like some parts of this. Looking back at it now, I was wrong. My review was wrong. There's not much to like here. We're going to move on to 10, which is X-Men The Last Stand. This is where they kind of start to get good, in my opinion. I like this one. It's not great. The third act falters in many, many ways. But it's not, like, an unwatchable film. And there's some really good moments, particularly with the whole kind of racism kind of theory they have with the entire X-Men franchise. In this one, you can kind of tangibly feel that, and I thought that went really well. We didn't need Magneto to be the main villain of this one at all, and it does mirror Dark Phoenix in many ways, shapes, and forms. However, I think it does it a little bit better than the actual Dark Phoenix movie. Now we have The Wolverine. This is the second part of the second trilogy, focusing on Wolverine. This is the one that I was talking about earlier, where it's beautiful. It's beautiful for the first two acts of the film. Wonderful filmmaking. Third act ruined by it just turning into an X-Men movie, and it just feels really dumb to go from this beautiful kind of stylistic direction to a stupid, like, action movie. It wasn't even like the third act's not even like a good X-Men movie. It's just a bad X-Men movie. It's rough. But at number 8, we have what a lot of people consider to be bad, X-Men Apocalypse. I don't hate Apocalypse. I hate the character Apocalypse. Like, Apocalypse is dumb. But the movie itself is fine, and a lot of the characters kind of grow together a lot that work really well for me. They kind of unite to fight Apocalypse in a nice, pleasant way that I thought was tasteful and fun. Next, we have the most average film. This is number 7. We're half of the list. That's Deadpool 2. It's not nearly as good as the first Deadpool movie, and you can feel that when you watch it. And it is not nearly as fun as the first one. It does take itself a little bit too seriously. And also, they did some stupid things with the comedy that honestly I don't think they should have. It felt strange to me. It's very mediocre, and I'm happy that this somehow ended to be the most average, because that's exactly how I feel about it. Next, number 6, X-Men First Class. This one introduced us to the younger versions of a lot of the characters we like and enjoy, and I thought it was fun. I thought it was a fun movie. I particularly liked that we got a backstory of Xavier and Magneto. I thought those were really nice backstories, and that they work well to kind of show why, Magneto's bad. And that was nice. It felt original, even though we know it wasn't. And it does kind of retcon some things from the original trilogy, but then that is kind of explained by the second part of this trilogy. It's complicated, but it's a good movie. Definitely check that one out if you kind of skipped it, because I feel like some people might have skipped it, and I don't think you should. It's pretty cool. Number 5, or the top 5. Number 5 is just the first X-Men movie. I think it's a very solid movie. It has a lot of jank, but the final scene is reminiscent of the early 2000s, late 90s, and I like it. It's really fun. Wolverine is just, that's how they knew it was going to be a hit, was like when everyone reacted positively to Wolverine. They're like, yep, it's a franchise, that's how it's going to work, and it really paved the way for the MCU, I think, and I really liked it. It's a good movie. Number 4 is the first Deadpool film. It's a fun movie. I mean, it's definitely one that is going to, most audiences are going to like this one. Whereas if you show them the first X-Men movie, they're like, I don't know, too much action, not enough funny, or whatever. And this one's got both in a very equal amounts. And it is just really fun. I think all audiences like this movie. I certainly do, and that's why it's in my top 5. Number 3 is X-Men Days of Future Past. People are going to be like, 3rd? That's the best one. I disagree. It is an extraordinarily fun film, though. And it has a lot of really fun moments, particularly focusing on Wolverine. So I thought that was really fun to kind of... It's almost a 2.5 part of the Wolverine trilogy, as well as the second part of the second X-Men trilogy. That was hard to say. But you get my point, right? Like, it could be, X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, and then, Apocalypse. Or you could watch it in terms of Wolverine, Origins Wolverine, then, Days of Future Past. And it would work either way, and it's pretty cool, and it works as a nice reboot of the franchise as well. It's a soft reboot, where they're like, okay, we need to fix some of the things we did in the past because they don't really work now, so let's just erase it. And it did it in a really smart way, and I wish that more people would approach it in a way like that, instead of rebooting the entire franchise, just kind of doing a soft reboot by, canceling some of the things they've done diegetically, not like saying, all right, this is just, it doesn't exist anymore, and they're like, okay, why doesn't it exist anymore? And that was a cool topic that they kind of attacked in this one that I didn't expect, so that was really cool. Number 2 is X2. This is a slept-on one, I feel like. I feel like whenever I bring up X2, people are like, oh yeah, it's a good one. No, it's a great one. X2 is fantastic. It's got action, it's got good characters, and it's got really deep, thematic issues in it as well. It deals with a lot of racism, and I think that people kind of overlook that, and I don't think they should, because it's definitely in there. It's tangibly in there. I feel like people who've experienced racism are going to notice it more than others that didn't. And it's a really cool kind of topic, and it tackles it in a fun way and in a tasteful way as well. So I really like that one. But number 1 has to go to Logan. Logan is incredible. A beautiful, beautiful film. I still want to watch it in black and white soon. If you haven't seen Logan, I mean, what are you doing? Watch it immediately. I don't know where it's streaming. I found it on Blu-ray, so I bought a copy on Blu-ray. But I'm sure all of these are streaming somewhere. Most of them are on Disney Plus. I know 1 or 2 is on HBO Max. So back and forth between those, you can watch all of them. So definitely consider doing that, because they're all really, it's worth watching all of them. And remember to put in the comments below what your favorites are, what your least favorites are. I want to know all of them, so put them in the comments below. And as always, consider subscribing so you can find your next movie at Robert's Reviews.